All right, and we are live. So, hey, everybody, thank you for joining me. Some of you may be watching this on Facebook. Looks like we have someone here, maybe some people here that'll be joining us here actually in the Crowdcast room. And so my goal today is to answer any questions that you might have about how to get online reviews in the right way, and how to intercept negative reviews and prevent some of the challenges that you may be experiencing with online reviews right now and how they're impacting your business, by sharing with you GatherKudos. So make sure that you're paying attention, put away any distractions. If you really want to get something out of this, I'm going to share with you some secrets today about how you can get more leads and business through online reviews than you could possibly get, or more business than you could possibly get even if you had the top spot on Google. I'm going to share with you how you can do something different than what all of your competitors are doing and still get bigger results and outpace them in terms of growth. I'm going to share with you secrets that will seem really obvious once I explain them to you. So hopefully you're excited about this. You may be wondering who I am. So my name is Jason Hull. I started a web design agency back in 2008 called Open Potion, and eventually it evolved into helping property management companies and consulting them, small business owners of all types, but we gravitated towards property management businesses. I helped my brother out in that niche, and they tend to get really bad reviews. And so we wanted to come up with the best solution. And we did a lot of research, and GatherKudos is kind of what we came up with, which was part platform that we were leveraging and part process that we came up with. And so combined, we are able to help our clients outpace and get their competitors and get more positive online reviews and dominate their market. And so that allows you to shift away from some of those challenges and concerns like price sensitivity, people focusing on you as just a commodity. It allows you to distinguish yourself in a different way than price. Price is probably one of the worst differentiators, because if people are only looking at your price, they're not looking at value, and there's a gap there. So we want to make sure that people recognize that you're awesome, you're the best, and help you figure out how do we not get negative reviews. So the first secret or thing I want to share with you, and if you stick around to the end, those of you that are here, that are hanging out, I'll share with you an ebook. If you want to learn more about how to get reviews, I wrote a book called The 13 Rockstar Tips to Get Reviews That Don't Suck. Because it's not just about getting more reviews, right? It's about getting the ones that don't suck. You want those good reviews. All right. So the first thing I want to share with you is that I'll start with what's here on my shirt. SEO is not your savior. And so most small business owners are given there's this myth, this idea that SEO is your savior. It's like the thing that's going to save your business. If you just had the top spot on Google, that's the river and lifeblood of all business and traffic. And if you could just get that top spot on Google, your business would be doing well and be doing healthy. And so what people do to achieve that is they'll do SEO, they'll pay for costly SEO, they'll do pay-per-click services, they'll start doing content marketing and social media marketing, all this stuff to try and get attention. And at the end of the day, all those things, all they can do for you is get you cold leads. And so what's the difference between a cold lead and a warm lead? So I want to make sure that this is one of the first secrets, is to understand there's a big difference between cold lead marketing and warm leads. And so cold leads are people that don't know you, trust you, and like you. And so I don't know if you guys like pictures, but I tend to like pictures. So I'm going to beef up my light here and see if you guys can see my my whiteboard here. See if I can angle this the right way. There we go. All right, so, and let me grab some different colors here. So if we have cold leads, so we'll say this is an ice cube here, if you can't tell. And then over here, we've got hot leads. We'll say that this is like a piping cup of coffee or something, but this is a hot lead. So this is frozen, cold, this is hot. And the difference between these two, this sort of continuum, is whether they know you, trust you, and like you, right? And that's this way. If they know you, trust you, and like you. And so in order to get somebody from cold to the ultimate deal, which is to close the deal or get them on as a client or get their business or get them into your store or whatever it might be, you need to warm them up somehow in order to get them to give you money or make a purchase. Now, if it's low dollar, it's low risk, so it's not so difficult. But if there's more of a commitment involved, this becomes even more challenging. There needs to be greater amounts of trust, and they need to like you even more. And so cold leads, they don't know you, trust you, or like you. And so if you pay for a cold lead or you do SEO and you get a cold lead or you have the top spot on Google, but you still look and smell and sound like everybody else, then they have to find some way to distinguish you. And usually what people do is they go to price. So they're like, all right, well, let's just drive our price down and we'll be cheaper than the other guys so that they'll go with us. The other is you have to increase value. So we have better value than them. And so in order to increase the value, sometimes everything looks equal, so they have to lower the price. Or you can say we are way better. We have much bigger value. And the challenge is then showcasing that and getting them to believe that so that they can see this value. So now, if you have good reviews, here's the secret. The second secret I want to share with you is that getting really good reviews gives you these type of leads. Now, if you have bad leads, if you have bad reviews, then they're going to come in with less trust, and you're going to have to even more focus on value and price and all of these different things to stand out. But if you're the best, then your price can be naturally higher. Your value doesn't have to be that it doesn't have to even be higher because the perception is higher. So they have a higher perception. And so you're able to close more deals more easily. You may be just as good as all your competitors, but the perception is that you're the best, and people buy the best. People go with the leader. There's a reason why the iPhone did so well for so many years, because people perceived it as being the best, as the leader. There's a reason why before that people bought the iPod. People perceived it as being that best MP3 player on the market. And so Apple sold millions and millions of those. And it was because of the perception. Now, they didn't grow that business because of marketing, because they were doing things like SEO and pay-per-click, like AdWords or content marketing or social media marketing or whatever. They weren't doing a whole bunch of marketing stuff. They did do some marketing, but the iPhone became huge and the iPod became huge because people were talking about it. And so here's another secret is that marketing is not what builds brands and what helps companies thrive. It's at least not advertising when it comes to marketing, not advertising. The other side of marketing that is PR or press or word of mouth or people talking about you. And so people talking about you is considered much more credible than you talking about yourself. Like, hey, we're really great. That's nice. What do other people say? And that's where you can start getting high trust, warm word of mouth. And so word of mouth business, usually the close rate on word of mouth business is really high. We're talking like maybe if it's a really solid high trust referral, maybe 90% or higher. Whereas cold leads, typically when they come in, most people are lucky if they can close maybe 1 out of 10 on those cold leads. Now, if you're the lowest price guy in your market, then you may think you're a badass at sales. Maybe this is really high, but really you're just the cheapest. And that makes it really difficult to deliver value and to get good reviews, right? And so, so that's one thing I wanted to share with you. Now, the other thing I want to point out between, so that's the difference between cold and warm leads. The other thing I want to point out is that the SEO and having this top spot in Google isn't always the best thing to be, because think about it. Here's the life cycle of a customer, and they don't know you, trust you, or like you, right? They don't know who to go with or who's best. and then all the way up to here where they have picked a company. This is a check mark. They picked a company and they know who they're going with and who they decide they want to sign up with, right? And between here and here, they are doing research, they're asking around, all this kind of stuff. So where on this continuum do you think they're searching on Google? How early in the sales cycle? So this is the sales cycle. And one thing I want to point out is on cold leads, the sales cycle from here to here is pretty fast. They're like, hey, who should I go with? And their friend says, oh, you should use these guys. Or the reviews say, you should use these guys. And they go, okay, great. It's really quick. And when they come to you, they're pretty much already sold, right? That's why the close rate's so high. So the sales cycle is really short. So a typical lead here may only take a third of the amount of time to close them. Whereas sometimes if they come to you, you know, about here in the process, you're going to have to demo and show them and visit their place and, you know, whatever you have to do as part of your sales cycle. And it's going to take a lot more effort, lots more follow-up phone calls, a lot more interactions to get to here. And during all of this, there's attrition. These are drifts. This are all the leaks in your pipeline, leaking time, money, energy, business, etc. And by the time it gets to the end, it's pretty slim, right? So you want to shortcut this, right? This is your sales cycle. And so SEO is probably like somewhere here towards, like really towards the end. And there's no warmth here though. That's the other challenge. So they're towards the end. They already have awareness. They've gotten past the awareness problem. So they're aware that there are companies like you that can help them. They've gotten past maybe perception. People, you know, maybe said, yeah, you should get a plumber. Plumbers are good. And they've gotten past perception. Now they're looking for differentiators. They're looking to see who's different. You know, what's different? How do I choose? Help me make a decision. And so just having the top spot on Google isn't enough to make a decision, but here's where they're searching on Google. So they search on Google and they're at the end of the sales cycle. So, and this SEO, PPC, et cetera, this is where everybody is doing all their advertising. And so this would be, how do I draw this? I want some red. So this would be the red water, right? It's small. How many more people are over here though? There's a lot more people earlier in the sales cycle. Some people are not even at awareness yet. They're not even searching for you. They're not searching for a company. Where does word of mouth happen? Word of mouth happens earlier than this. This is WOM, word of mouth. So word of mouth, that's an arrow. Word of mouth happens before they go search, because usually they go search if they can't find anybody. If they go on Facebook and they say, hey, who should I use? Or they start looking at reviews, or they check Yelp or Google and they look locally and they can't find some good reviewed company, then they're going to start searching and start looking at websites and all this other stuff. And so this really, where advertising is the red water. This is bloody. This is where all the sharks are fighting over the same coldest and worst leads. The warmest are already snatched up. The warmth is gone. So now there's coldest, and they're the most price sensitive. They care the most about money. They think you are a commodity. They think you and all your competitors are the same. And so they're just looking for anything different. How do I pick which one I should use? And that's it, right? And so what if you could capture them far earlier, right? And so the new word of mouth is online reviews. And so this is why I want you to understand that the people searching on Google, even if you have the top spot on Google, the people searching on Google, if you have negative reviews, then it significantly impacts this. Like there's a massive attrition, because even if you're top spot on Google, if you're a one-star company, they're gonna go, well, I don't know if I should use those guys. Who else is good? And so it makes your marketing like it's swimming upstream. It makes everything more costly, more expensive. You'll easily spend 2 to 3 times the amount to get the same return if you have negative reviews online, because people do check out reviews. Almost everybody checks out reviews. And stats suggest that people trust online reviews as much as word of mouth from a trusted friend. So the close rate from word of mouth is very similar to online reviews. Online reviews are kind of the modern or new word of mouth. So that's the next thing I want. Those are some of the secrets that I want you to understand about online reviews. Let me turn my light down here. All right, there we go. So those are some of the things I want you to understand about online reviews. And the other thing I want you to recognize is that it is far better to have the best reviewed company on not just Google or Yelp, but multiple channels. And so if you're the best reviewed company, you're going to get more business than having the top spot on Google. And does that make sense? So imagine if you have 10 cold leads that come from having the top spot on Google, and then you're only able to close maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 if you're a badass, and that. And now imagine if you have the best reviewed company in the area, but you're not even showing up on the Google organic search. You're not the top spot on Google. But when people check all these different review sites that have traffic as well, like Yelp, Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, City Search, Facebook, whatever review sites might be relevant to your industry, OpenTable, Trulia, etc. Right? So if they're checking out these sites and it's driving traffic to you and you have good ratings, then the close rate is going to be far higher. So even if you got 5 leads and your close rate was 90%, you would end up with just about as much business as if you had double the cold leads, right? Maybe even still twice as much, depending on what your close rate is with cold leads, right? And that's where you really need a sales process. The other secret or the other challenge is if you have this whole sales process and the sales cycle where people come on and you with cold leads and you have to nurture them and take them through a process and you have to follow up and sell. You have to have a really good sales game going on in your business. And a lot of business owners in smaller companies, they just don't have that. They're not taking like sales trainings, and they're not figuring out how to close, and the business owner maybe has to do all the sales. And so the challenge is that it just isn't very effective. Now, if you have warm leads coming in from online reviews, you almost don't have to sell. I have some clients that they just literally email a contract to people and they sign up because the referrals that they're getting are so strong. And so it shortens the sales cycle, also eliminates your need to be really efficient and really effective at follow-up, and need to be really good at selling. And so you don't have to be really great at sales. And so it allows you to get business far quicker. You spend a lot less time. Some of our clients have reported they'll spend 2 to 3 times the amount of time on cold leads and only get a fraction of them. And so if you're a small business, it also becomes very difficult time-wise in order to grow. So let me share with you, give you a quick demo of how GatherKudos works. I'll share my screen here, and let me pull up GatherKudos, and we'll do one of our clients here. Let me share my screen. You could probably hear I've got this noisy pug down here on the floor. He's black, so it's hard to see him, but he's like snoring and slurping, and he's really old. So if you're hearing weird noises in the background, that's my pug. All right, so his name is Zen. All right, so I'm gonna share my screen. I'll show you GatherKudos, and if anyone has any questions, feel free to enter a question in. Oops, I think I shared the wrong screen because I'm sharing this, so you're seeing an endless loop. Let's try this again. Share screen, application window. There we go. All right, cool. So here is a GatherKudos page that we set up. So basically, what GatherKudos is, it's a review funnel or review page for your business we'll set up. And we give you a URL. It's like gatherkudos.com/ your business name, some sort of username, like he's got Nelson PM. And if you're on anything but our lowest package, then we crawl the review sites and it pulls in your most recent positive reviews. And from multiple channels. So you can see he's got several from Google, he's got Yelp, and there might be some other ones if we go back further, Facebook, etc. So now here's how it works. It's really quite simple. So let's start with if somebody was like really negative or upset, right? So the biggest challenge in a business is that if somebody, if you leave things on default for reviews, the default for most businesses is negative reviews, because you're always going to get some, and negative reviewers are far more motivated than positive reviewers. They just are. They're on fire, they're passionate, they're excited about damaging your business because they feel wounded or hurt, or they want to feel cool, or whatever is motivating them. So the thing to take a look at is, how can we capture them before they go to DEFCON 5 and they go nuclear and decide they want to destroy your business? Because I find it's all the middle of the road feedback that most businesses are missing out on. We'll hear about the really extremely happy customers. They might jump through some hurdles and leave you good reviews online. And then we hear about plenty of the 1 stars and really negative, but it's usually all the people in between that we just don't seem to capture that feedback on. And so if anyone rates you anything below, and we can do this as smiley faces, or there's different ways we can lay this one was laid out as stars. So if they choose anything negative or neutral, so that would be 3 stars or below on this page, it will pop up and it will give you Dan Nelson, the CEO, like his direct number, so you can reach out to him directly. So what Dan has a team, and so what this allows him to do is this allows people to bypass his frontline staff. So maybe he's got a front desk gal named Susie Q, and Susie Q was really mean and had a bad day and really told off a tenant or somebody, a customer, and that person feels wounded and hurt and wants to attack the business. They might come on here and go, oh, well, I don't want this to go to Susie Q, so I'm not going to go walk up to Susie Q at the front desk and say, hey, you were mean to me, I want to share some feedback with your manager. She's just going to walk away quietly. But if she's given the opportunity to give feedback directly to the business owner about Susie Q, she's far more likely to give it. So this allows them to bypass your frontline staff, which are usually the people that hurt them or offended them or told them no or whatever it might be. And they can go right to the top. And I recommend that you do what Dan did here. And so head of the company and feel like they're being heard and feel like they have a voice, and so they can call him up and he can take care of that and mitigate that. Usually as a business owner, we build this barrier and this wall around ourselves unintentionally somewhat as we grow and as we build a team, because we can't do everything ourselves. We need other people to be answering the phones. We need other people to be helping us. And then we move our desk into the back so people can't reach us so easily, so we can focus on higher level tasks in the business. And the challenge then becomes, we become disconnected from the business. We become disconnected from our customers. We become disconnected from how our team is actually treating people. And so what needs to happen is we need a feedback system that allows people to bypass all of that, basically jump over the front desk, find you in the back office, swing open the door and come over to you and grab your hand and shake your hand and say, hey, I'm one of your customers, I'm having this problem. And this allows them a real simple way to do that. And so they can also fill out the form below and send a direct message. We've seen all kinds of ridiculous things come through these things that really seem kind of minor, but it's all those minor things when left unaddressed that eventually create a perception and a feeling for a company. And then what happens if you then have enough negative reviews, you're only going to be attracting the worst business. Then you have to compete more on price. You have to provide even more value. You have to spin the message that people say they hate us on Yelp, but we really are good. And that's really difficult. And it's simply because you just suck at playing the game. And if you know how to play the game, then you can win. But if you don't know how to play the game, you're not going to win. And this is how you play the game. You need a system in which you can capture real and raw feedback from people. Feedback that's not at DEFCON 5, gone nuclear, I want to destroy your business level yet. And so here you can capture that negative or neutral feedback from people and make that available to you. And same thing if it's all the way down to 1 star, it pops this up, right? If it's good, if it's 4 stars or 5 stars, then what will happen is it will pop up and you will see you'll see the different review sites. And my recommendation is that you add as many as possible, because over time, each of these become buckets to feed you business. And so if they click on any, so we'll say we select Yelp, right? It's hard to get good reviews on Yelp sometimes. And so because Yelp filters them, but it points that out. And so it will tell them to go ahead and choose another site if they're not already a Yelp user, so they can click this. But if they find one that they like, that they're comfortable with, maybe they're a Google user or they're a Facebook person. So it allows them, it kind of lubricates the process by allowing them to choose whatever they're already comfortable with, instead of trying to force Google or Yelp down everybody's throat. And then Yelp's filtering all those reviews because you're the only company they've reviewed maybe, and they don't have a image on their profile, and they just look fake and weird. And then Google, you could have a bunch of reviews in Google, but bad reviews everywhere else, right? So what this does is gives them directions so that they know how to do it. So they get to first choose whatever site they want. And I recommend you let them choose. Now, we obviously can highlight one of the sites like we did here with Google. He wants more on Google, so we highlighted that. But they can pick any site they're comfortable with. You can even tell them if you're talking to a client and you send them the link to your page, hey, yeah, we appreciate your feedback, and you send them the link to this, then they can, you can tell them they can go back through the process and choose multiple sites. And so this allows them to know how they can praise your company in multiple ways. And then if you click this, it'll take you right to that page so you can follow these directions that you just read. So it has text directions, visual directions. So depending on how they like to learn and absorb information, this will help them figure it out so that they can leave you a good review. It even shows you which ones you can log in through Facebook with. So if they have a Facebook login, they can just go to these, and it's really easy. In fact, I'm in a private browsing window, but if I'm already logged in, it will show that I'm already logged in on these in most instances. So you can click on one of these and it tells you how to do it, and you go and do that, and it shows you how to leave a good review. So it really lubricates that process. And the number one reason why people don't leave good reviews is they feel like it's work. They feel like it's difficult. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. And so this gives them really simple, clear directions. And so it really lubricates that process and makes it easier. So that's how GatherKudos works. Now, GatherKudos, the question then is, how do I get people to this page? So what we recommend is that you identify everywhere that your customers, you have touch points with your clientele. And so that could be, maybe there's, you capture their email address and you can send them a welcome email. Maybe it's support emails, maybe it's invoices, billing statements, maybe they're walking into your store. But wherever you're having touch points with your customers or communication with your customers, or they have any experience through your phone system or wherever, identify all of those touch points and then figure out, how can I plug this URL in for our clients? And just make that available. So this URL could be placed in email signatures. It could be placed, you can email it to people directly. It could be linked on invoices. It could be in your client or customer portals, etc. You can drive people to this at any time, and you just want to ask them for any feedback, good or bad. You want any feedback. The worst thing you can do, a big mistake most people make when they're asking for reviews, is they ask for good reviews. Like, oh, do you love us? Please give us a good review. What I recommend is you say, we would love your real feedback, whatever it is. And that's going to allow you to get feedback that's usable for your business. It's going to prevent the negative reviews from making it all the way to Yelp, so you can capture them early and take care of those problems and invest a little time, energy, and money so that a negative review doesn't show up that really is costing you a lot of time, energy, and money and lost business. And it will also help you push them towards getting good reviews and it qualifies in a single click. Where most review tools fail is that they will send out a survey first, ask them to review you. Then if the review looks positive, then it will send a second email or a second trigger out to them, asking them to go review you on Google or Yelp. And so what ends up happening is most people aren't going to review you twice. So the genius in this, and the simplicity, is that in a single click, it qualifies them as good or bad, and then allows them to choose. And so it just really simplifies that process, and it's not capturing the reviews in the tool. And tools that capture the reviews in the tool may capture more testimonials and more reviews, but they're capturing far less, or driving far less to the actual review sites that have a lot of traffic that can send you warm leads and warm business. And so we wanted to make sure that we help people win the game of online reviews. And what this will do is this will allow you to get real feedback on your team. This will make your team accountable, because real feedback is going to be coming through. Your team members are going to step up their game. Your customer service level, where you were just guessing before was okay, you'll know how you're doing, and you'll be able to improve it. and make it better. And you'll be able to improve processes. You'll be able to reduce leaks and change your client expectations, and improve your onboarding processes and improve your sales process so that everything's in better alignment to provide better service instead of guessing and wondering why you just occasionally are getting these bad 1-star reviews. So that's GatherKudos. Let me show you how you can put this into his website. So if you go to his website here, you can see that near his lead capture form, we have testimonials here. And so we can embed the GatherKudos widget. We'll give you the code so you can embed that on your page. And we also have a review button. So you can always tell people, just go to our website. There's a review us button at the bottom, and it has a miniature version of the GatherKudos tool, which you can see here. And so that is, so you want to make sure it's on your website. We also have an email signature code snippet. And so in emails, let me see if I can, I'll show you my email real quick here. Let me share a different screen. And we have an email signature code snippet. Share screen. Let me share my email application here. And so you can see here, I've got the give us feedback. And so I've got our review link right here. This whole code snippet will give you a code snippet similar to this that matches the style. So I'm using smiley faces on mine instead of stars, which I think works really well for email signature snippets. And we have this code snippet on all of our team members. We use it on our support emails and on different things. This allows us to get real feedback and capture more reviews. And so they can click on this and go off and choose. And it will do it just as if they had clicked on the positive or negative. So we're able to see that. And then we'll also, if you're on any plan higher than our lowest one, where we're actually tracking your online reviews. So any review site in your GatherKudos page, we'll send you a report and you can see how your reviews are growing. It will also crawl those review sites and pull in those reviews into the testimonial widget. You can put that widget on your website. And so the other cool thing we have are GatherKudos cards. So they're just little business cards that we can send you that have a QR code they can scan. It has the URL, it has your logo, and it says, please take a moment to share your feedback or review us. And you can give that out to people physically as a tangible anchor so that they can leave you a review. And so these are some of the customer touch points that we've seen people implement to get more reviews in their business. And so I'll share with you one last sort of strategy that's really effective is to make sure that when you're reaching out to customers, you need to build a process in your business. So everybody usually has some sort of sales process they've kind of defined in their business. Maybe they have a fulfillment process for how they deliver their product or service or whatever. Maybe they even have like an onboarding process. Maybe they have a process in their business for when a client terminates or they cancel. So you have all these processes. You'd be surprised how few, and you probably don't have, and then you may have marketing processes for things you're trying to do to grow the business, but you'd be surprised how few businesses have a reputation process to get good reviews. And so it's really simple. You can reach out to your clients just when they're at peak happiness and ask them, how was your experience with company ABC, our business? And they might say, it was great. And you can say, or it was bad, or whatever they say. You say, well, we love getting feedback from our clients. Thank you for sharing that with us. Would you be willing to share that with our team or share that online? And then they'll usually say, yeah, I'd be glad. I'd be happy to, because that would be really helpful for us to improve, or it'd be helpful for us, to get more business or whatever. And they'll say, yeah, I'd be happy to. You send them, I'll send you the GatherKudos link. The other cool things that we have, so let me see, I'll share another window here. Is we have built into GatherKudos a drip campaign system. And so that will give you a secret URL that you can go to, that you can plug in a client's name and email address or name and phone number, and it can depending on the plan that you're on, it can send an email drip campaign, or it can send them a text message to request or invite them to give you a review. And let me see, I'll show you the GatherKudos cards. I have a picture of it right on the homepage of GatherKudos.com. Let me share my screen with you here. You can see one for Open Potion. So here you go. This is what a GatherKudos card, a Kudos card looks like right here. And we have different layouts. It can just have big buttons, so they're not really choosing positive or negative. If you generally just get positive reviews, then you may want to do that. We have a little thing below to capture the negative ones. We can do thumbs up or thumbs down, which is incredibly polarizing. And then we've got stars or faces. We get a lot of our clients use email as one of the main methods to get feedback. And so the smiley faces, I think, works really well. Some are more geared towards the stars, and it looks a little bit more corporate maybe, and so they go with that. So, but we do a drip campaign out through the emails, and so we have these 3 sort of messages that we send out to them, and it's really intelligent. If one of your team members plugs in a name and email that you've already dripped to, it will only do it in I think within a 120-day time period. So it's really intelligent that it's not going to allow you to spam people. It does allow them to opt out of the emails. And so it'll mention your business name. And so we've got a really smart system for doing the drip campaigns and the emails. So, so that's basically GatherKudos and how it works. I think we've answered most of those questions. We've got a few different plans depending on whether you are going to pay annually or monthly. And you're always welcome to start out on a monthly plan, and which is, all the plans are just a little bit more if you're paying monthly. Most people are really happy on our pro plan. I generally don't recommend you do the essential, just because we're not crawling the review sites. You can't use the reviews embed because we're not pulling them in, and you're not getting reports. And I don't recommend you do any sort of marketing or software, any sort of effort, if you can't track your results. And so you'll be able to see, get a report, get results. We'll also give you 100 GatherKudos cards on this. We'll send you, and so on this plan, we'll give you 500 on this. And so I recommend you do either do our pro plan. If you go, the difference between this and this really is the text message invites. And so if it's easier for you to get phone numbers, and text message has really high engagement, high level of engagement, you'll be able to send text message invites through that if you want to provide names and phone numbers. And then if you're on our elite plan, you can actually send us a report. If you send us a spreadsheet of email addresses and names or phone numbers or whatever, we can do a bulk import, and it will only drip out about 10 or so a day, and it'll spread it out over time so that they don't all flood in at the same time. So our drip system is really intelligent, as I suggested. And so, but we'll feed a whole list. And with any new client, when we bring you on, we'll do a whole rocket launch campaign for you. So if you want to give us your whole customer list and feed it into the system, that'll give you a nice initial boost. We find clients usually get maybe about 10, maybe 20% response rate. And so if you have a list of emails and maybe 100 people, that could be 10, 20 new reviews on review sites that can start helping drive traffic to your business. And so that'll give you a nice initial boost, and it'll usually be spread out over maybe the course of a month or 2, depending on how big that list is. So we can do that right at the get-go, and then you can manually enter in each new client or customer as you onboard them. And so I recommend building a process around GatherKudos, that you build this in as part of your onboarding process with new customers, so that you have a consistent way of consistently getting online reviews. This is far more, I think, important and effective than most marketing channels. And so that is GatherKudos in a nutshell. So unless anybody has any questions, then I demoed it, I explained the tool, and so we'll go ahead and wrap this up. You can sign up just by going to GatherKudos.com. I will, if you're here in Crowdcast or watching this on Crowdcast at a later time, I will put the call to action here. All right, and show. And there you go. There should be a button right below that you can click on here to get started. And the service is really low in cost. Usually, if it helps you prevent one negative review, it's probably paid for itself for the entire year. If it's gotten you, some positive reviews, it's easily less. It's less expensive and more effective for generating business than most pay per lead services. And so I recommend you get on GatherKudos and start using it. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our team. We have a live chat on gatherkudos.com that you can send us a message and we will respond to you within the day usually, or even faster. So anyway, that's about it. And let me I'm gonna just point out a couple of things. If all GatherKudos did was eliminate a few negative reviews and increase your star rating by maybe even just a star or even half a star, would it be worth it? Yeah, probably. There's a huge difference between 3 stars and 4 stars in terms of the amount of business that a business will get. If all it did was make your team more accountable and give you better feedback so you actually could provide better customer service to attract even more word of mouth and better customers, would it be worth it? Absolutely, right? You're paying way more for your team members and your staff than you would ever pay for this tool for even an entire year. Some team members, you're probably paying weekly what it would cost for a whole year of this tool. You're going to be spending money in the business. Most business owners are spending all of the money, and unfortunately, most of them are spending everything that they're getting in. That's how most businesses operate. So the money is going to be gone anyway. And wouldn't it make sense to make sure that that money is put towards something that is helping give you money in return? And that's the thing I want you to recognize. Good marketing pays you. Good marketing makes you money. Good marketing doesn't cost you anything because it's helping grow your business. So if you're spending a bunch on marketing and you feel like it's just costing you money, then maybe it's not working. Maybe you should be doing something more effective. And remember that the marketing agencies, they're always trying to sell you on what they do. So pay-per-click companies are going to tell you, you got to do pay-per-click. SEO companies are going to say, do SEO. It's the thing. Content marketing companies are going to tell you, do content marketing, and blogs are like the thing. And social media marketing companies are going to tell you it's social media. But the one thing that consistently has helped me grow my businesses, get business, is true, real, honest case studies, testimonials, and those things are real. People believe those things. People trust those things. And they call that social proof. And that trumps any other form of marketing in terms of results, in terms of the number of actual deals acquired. So my recommendation is get on the GatherKudos system, check it out, try it out. One caveat, it's a tool like anything. So if you just set up the page and don't build a process around it, you don't reach out to your customers after you've onboarded them and they're happy, you don't invite people in some way, you don't put it in your email signature, you're just hoping for reviews to just come in, then that's probably not going to work, right? If you buy a hammer and set it on a shelf, it's not going to help you build a house. But this is a really powerful hammer. It's a really powerful tool to help you do some amazing things if you use it. So I recommend you sign up and I recommend you use it. If you're not sure how to use it, we'll rewatch this training. Otherwise, reach out to us and we'll help you know how you can figure out how to use GatherKudos. So hopefully that's it. Our cheapest plan, if you pay annually, is only $29 a month, which is ridiculous. So make sure you sign up for GatherKudos and look forward to having you guys as customers. We can usually get your site set up within one business day and get it built out the way you want. You'll fill out a form and a questionnaire, and then you're off to the races. So, and that's about it. So I'll let you guys go, and hopefully we'll be seeing you guys using GatherKudos here shortly and getting better reviews and better feedback to improve your business. So I'm Jason Hull with GatherKudos, Open Potion, DoorGrow, Thunder Local, and I'm out. Bye, everybody.